the more what I'm made up. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping straight into the 9th day of the Sean Diddy Combs trial.
Right.
We're using a detailed report from People magazine as our guide here. They're usually pretty solid on celebrity news and, these big legal cases.
Yeah, they have good access.
So our mission today is basically to pull out the key stuff, the main testimonies, and any big developments from this specific day, May 22nd. We want to focus on the details that really kind of shed light on what's happening.
Exactly. We're not just giving a rundown. We want to understand maybe the deeper meaning behind what was said, figure out which bits of testimony might be most revealing for the bigger picture here.
Okay, so let's unpack day 9 because it really felt like it centered around some, pretty major testimony, starting with Kid Cudi. Obviously, everyone knows him, major music figure. But what's interesting, really, is how he's connected to this trial through his past relationship with Cassandra Ventura, Cassie, Combs' ex.
Yeah, that adds a whole different layer, doesn't it?
It really does.
And we need to remember, Cassie Ventura had already testified. She claimed Combs made threats against Kid Cudi when he found out they were seeing each other.
Right, including that really serious one about blowing up his car.
Exactly. So Kid Cudi coming in to testify, his account speaks directly to those claims. It could, carry a lot of weight.
And then, bam, the testimony itself. Kid Cudi talking about his car actually exploding back in January 2012.
Yeah.
His reaction, he said, was just, what the F? Can you imagine?
No. And then getting that call from his dog sitter about the fire.
Yeah.
Finding a Molotov cocktail there.
Yeah. It just takes what Ventura said from, alleged threats to this really disturbing thing that actually happened to him.
Absolutely. That testimony, it's impactful because it's not just words anymore, is it?
Yeah.
You've got a car explosion, a Molotov cocktail. It's a concrete event that seems to line up with what Ventura accused Combs of threatening. That kind of detail, it can be very persuasive to a jury.
And it didn't stop there. Cudi also talked about an alleged break-in.
Right, at his home.
Said Combs broke in after finding out about him and Ventura. Imagine coming home to that. And apparently his dog got locked in the bathroom during it all.
It's such a strange, specific detail.
It makes it feel even more, invasive, unsettling.
Well, it paints a picture, doesn't it, of alleged possessiveness, maybe aggression. And yeah, the dog detail, like you said, it adds this really personal, kind of violating dimension to the alleged break-in. Suggests a real disregard for Cudi's space, everything.
And there's this timeline aspect, too. Cudi testified he spent Christmas 2011 with Ventura in Connecticut. And apparently Combs was trying to contact him repeatedly then. Then later, after the alleged break-in, Cudi described confronting Combs.
What did he say?
His words were pretty direct, something like, you broke into my house and messed with my dog. I don't want to talk to you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty definitive.
It really is.
Yeah.
That shows Cudi drawing a clear line, And it highlights just how much these alleged events affected him personally. It seems like he wasn't easily intimidated, at least not in that moment. And one more thing from Cudi's testimony. That description of meeting Combs later at the Soho House in L.A.
Oh, yeah, that was striking.
He painted this picture of Combs standing there with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain.
Huh. Yeah, quite the visual.
It really is. It's so vivid. What do you make of using that kind of description in a trial? Does it land?
Well, it's subjective, obviously, but an image like that, it can be really powerful. It helps shape how the jury sees Combs, his demeanor, the whole vibe of that meeting. It adds a very human, relatable element, even if it's a kind of scary one. Makes it memorable.
Okay, so Kid Cudi was definitely, a huge focus. But day 9 wasn't only about him. George Kaplan, Combs's former personal assistant, he continued his testimony from the day before.
Right, picking up where he left off.
People magazine didn't go deep into the specifics of what else Kaplan said, but the fact he was back suggests the prosecution thinks he's got valuable information. What would a former PA typically offer in a case like this?
Oh, potentially a lot. Personal assistants often see, almost everything. Their boss's daily routines, relationships, business stuff, moods.
Right, the day-to-day reality.
Exactly. So Kaplan's continued testimony was likely meant to maybe back up other points, add context, corroborate details from other witnesses, or maybe even bring out new aspects of Combs' behavior.
Makes sense. Then there was also testimony from Angela Morales, a makeup artist. She talked about an incident back in 2010, said Combs apparently stormed into a suite looking for Cassie, shouting, "Where the F is you?"
Okay.
And then Morales reported hearing yelling and screaming from the bedroom. And later, she said, Ventura came out looking distraught and had visible injuries.
Wow. That sounds,
Yeah,
incredibly serious.
it does.
Her account is potentially very strong because it's like an independent observation. It seems to align with the broader picture Cassie Ventura painted, but it's a specific moment, a specific alleged incident of abuse. And mentioning visible injuries, that's very significant for the prosecution.
Definitely. Okay, let's quickly touch on the trial logistics. People confirmed day 9 was Thursday, May 22nd. Things are paused now, right?
Yeah, they're on a break. Set to resume Tuesday, May 27th after Memorial Day.
Got it. And looking ahead.
Well, the prosecution apparently expects to call Capricorn Clark next. She's another former assistant of Combs.
Okay, another insider, potentially.
Could be. And there's also talk of maybe hearing from LAPD and LAFD members.
Possibly related to the car explosion or other parts of the investigation.
That seems likely, yeah. Could shed more light on those events.
And the judge, Judge Arun Subramanian, he seems keen to keep things moving.
Yeah, he's indicated he expects the trial to wrap up by July 4th. Told the lawyers to flag any potential delays quickly. So there's definitely a push to maintain momentum.
Right, despite how complex it all is.
Absolutely. And just, a quick reminder for everyone listening, the charges themselves are serious. Sex trafficking, racketeering, transportation for prostitution.
And Combs has pleaded not guilty to everything. That's crucial to remember. This trial is about determining if those accusations hold up.
Precisely.
People magazine also gave a quick mention that Cassie Ventura, obviously central to this, and also Don Richard, the former Danity Kane singer, they've already testified.
Right. Other well-known names from the music world who were in Cohn's orbit.
It really just underlines how high profile this whole case is.
And it highlights that network of people who might have seen things or experienced things related to these allegations.
Yeah.
All their testimonies together build the prosecution's narrative.
So wrapping up our look at day 9, the big takeaways really seem to be Kid Cudi's testimony. The alleged threats, that terrifying car explosion, the alleged break-in, that sort of supervillain meeting.
Yeah, very impactful stuff.
Plus, we heard more from George Kaplan, and then that really disturbing account from Angela Morales about the incident with Ventura.
It definitely feels like the trial is moving forward, gathering these different perspectives, and more to come after the holiday.
What seems really noteworthy is how accounts like Cudi's and Morales's seem to support or line up with parts of Cassie Ventura's original claims.
It does raise an interesting point, maybe for you listening. When you take all these different accounts, just from this one day, the vivid image of that tense meeting, the recounting of a violent event like the car fire, the description of an alleged domestic disturbance, what does it all suggest to you about the complexities, maybe the hidden realities inside this whole legal process?
Yeah.
Definitely gives you something to think about as we wait to see what happens next. It's a case everyone's watching closely.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Bobby doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.